Future Freight Festival in Chattanooga, Tennessee is the event of the fall. Subscribers to Check Call have a special discount code for F3 registration. This is going to be one of the best deals on F3 tickets. Use the code CheckCall F324 at checkout to take advantage of this offer. See you in Chattanooga. Welcome back to another edition of Check Call. Don't forget to subscribe to Check Call, the newsletter. If you haven't already, you can do that on FreightWaves.com/checkcall. Today, we are welcoming back, I'm going to call you guys friends of the show. We're bringing back friends of the show, Gray Sharkey and Thomas Wasson. Welcome back, friends.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Happy to be back.
We did this last year, didn't we? It's round 2, season 2.
I know, but don't be scared because spoiler alert, I'm probably gonna ask you guys to come back around Christmas time because we have to do our spicy takes for the new year.
Oh, I'm down. This is better odds than Netflix, by the way.
We definitely turn seasons around faster than Netflix does.
For sure.
Looking at you, Bridgerton. Anyway, today we're getting into some spooky stuff. Although I forgot my lantern to like hold by my face and go spooky. So pretend there's like a lantern here. Thomas, I'm going to start with you. What is your spookiest freight story from, missing trailers, ghosted drivers, getting got by the fraud monster, or, your best Scooby-Doo heist? What you got?
Well, I've got one. So I ran teams. This was a few years back, and you never know with teams. You have a male and female, or male and male, female and female. When you're on the road together, sometimes just sparks fly and magic happens. So these two folks were paired up, and they became a thing. And they visited me. They gave me a bone knife one time at corporate. They offered me a tire knocker, but I told them it would probably be a misdemeanor if I walked around with that in the office. But so here's what happens, right? I get the bone knife, we meet, and then they go home in Wisconsin, in the middle of like nowhere, Wisconsin, for a home time. And the guy disappears in the winter, and it's snowing. So I call the girl, his teammate, is like, where'd he go? She's like, I can't find him. He got really drunk. He just disappeared, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, crap, I got to call the cops. So I'm calling the cops in the middle of like a snowstorm. Like, do you see this guy like running down the road? I think he's alive. Can we send somebody? And that was my spooky story. They found him, but they weren't teams afterwards. So the relationship and the budding romance, it was too much to overcome, and they ended up breaking up. But I still have the bone knife. I'm gonna look for it. We'll have to make sure that we pan it on to Grace, and I'm gonna pull this puppy out.
I have no words for that. I can only imagine why they're not team drivers together anymore. I can only imagine. Grace, what is your spookiest freight story?
So I couldn't think of one I've personally had, but I'm obsessed with, all spooky things, haunted items, things of that nature. And I actually got a chance to see a while back at a museum the Annabelle doll. I don't know if you've ever seen the movies. Yes.
Oh, yes. Grace, I have a very unfortunate connection to that Annabelle doll. My beautiful husband, his friends thought it'd be funny to do a Halloween-themed escape room, and Annabelle had escaped, so we had to put her back in her box or whatever. I had a full panic attack, like meltdown. I was crying so much so that I could hear the like escape room guy cackling in like on the other side of the wall because I was freaking out so bad. And he's like, I've never seen someone like you that just sits in one room and waits.
Well, I mean, she can be scary, and we got a picture you can throw up as well of what she looks like a Raggedy Ann doll, right? So the movie does like make her seem really scary, but in my head I was like, how did you? Because she originally lives in Connecticut, I want to say, and I'd seen her at a museum in Las Vegas, and So my head was like, how do you like move something like this? Like, how scary would this be? And so I looked into it, exactly how they moved her. And well, one, they wear gloves. That's one big thing. And moving her out of the box. They first douse themselves with holy water, and then they use very heavy protective gloves to put her into a bag. They did say on a show about it that she was like they didn't like put her back and she wasn't a check on, like she was like with the person the whole time, like with the a mat, which I just think is so, talk about like a scary like move. Like imagine sitting next to someone who's like holding this big duffel bag and he's like, it's just the Annabelle doll, like get me off this plane, you know. And so they got there clearly safely and were able to unload the doll and put her in her spot. But I just think that's so scary. Like, how do you move some of these items over time? And I looked up a few as well. One other one I want to mention I found really interesting is the Hope Diamond actually is something as well they say is cursed, and that as it moves around to different owners, a lot of them have passed. Marie Antoinette's one, King Louis, a number of people have passed from the movement of that diamond as well. So, you know, I just think that kind of stuff is really creepy to like think about, like, how do you get these, if I wanted to buy the Annabelle doll, like how would I even ship that here? And do you have to tell people, you know, like we talked about the train, right? Like when we had the train derailment in Ohio, like should citizens know what's going through their towns on trains, right? Well, you should citizens know when haunted objects are on their plane or with their other packages, etc. So just something like I've tried to find it, but like if there's someone watching this video who like specializes in moving like haunted goods, like reach out to me. I would love to write an article or hear more about it, because I just think that stuff's like so weird and fascinating.
First of all, in this exact moment, I learned that the Annabelle doll isn't just like from a movie. I thought it was
Oh,
like
it's
a
real.
fake thing from a movie. Like I thought it was just based off like a movie. So like the whole time I was like, oh, they're moving a movie prop. And then you're like, no, like they had to bring this haunted thing on an airplane, to which I would have walked off the plane.
Yeah.
Like at that point, please let me contribute to you hiring a private jet to just make this go away.
There's one guy that they have on record who at the museum like opened the box and touched it, and on his way home he died in like a motorcycle accident. So she's real and she's vengeful. A
This
vengeful queen. We love
utterly
one.
terrifying. So like when you go see her in the museum, how do you like see her?
She's behind like glass, like double like
But her
locked
power
in.
like doesn't work if there's glass?
You're not supposed to like look at her too long. You're just supposed to like, there's the museum I went to is like full, shout out to Zach Baggins Haunted Museum. It's full of stuff like that. Like there's another doll that they have behind glass that's like known, like you literally can't look at that doll in the eyes, like. And yeah, he has like a whole room of just like toys and things of that nature, and it's super spooky. So
This is really giving strong Black Mirror energy.
oh 1,000%. If we get I will take you to that museum if you ever get a chance to go out there. And I've ghost hunted at night at the museum, like all the lights turned off. Very spooky stuff.
Okay, well that's utterly terrifying. I'm not sure I want
find
to
the
ask.
bone knife. All I found was this tiny hat for New Year's.
What a perfect transition.
There we go. I think that'll work. I got a hat on the pumpkin. That's all I got, folks. That's my outfit.
Thank you so much, Thomas.
We're doing the transition clips here. We're gonna do the
Perfect.
Star Wars
Love that.
fade with the circle.
Exactly.
Get Cody to do that for
Can we
us.
get like a 50s montage of like, we'll be right back.
After these messages.
I couldn't find the bone knife. This
We're gonna have to
we
cut
might
it.
have to have like a blooper reel that like runs after the
This is on
show.
the Christmas highlight reel if we had the budget.
All right, this time, Grace, I'm going to start with you.
Deal.
What is your top 3 scariest logistics scenarios?
Um, so as I'm going to take the perspective of a carrier sales rep, and then I'll take a perspective of more of an executive level. The carrier sales rep, I would say a little bit along the story of Thomas. Scariest thing I think that can ever happen is trailer driver go missing, right? No contact. You didn't track the guy because you're an idiot and you thought you could make a $500 rip. And then you're just like, have no idea where this stuff is, hoping to God that they get there, that they're, fortunately still alive and that just things are going smooth, and just waiting to hear that, hopefully if they don't deliver on time, maybe it's a little bit later, but that gut feeling of like, this is it, I've lost my job. Like this is it for me. I'm done. So here is like, so I had a guy in our brokerage once that came up to me and he was like, he had a kind of a similar situation. He's like, I'm fired, aren't I? I'm like, no, dude, like this stuff happens, but but I would say for more of an executive level, of cash flow level, overall business experience, claims. I think claims are the scariest thing in this industry because thank God we're starting to see more software that helps with this. But I mean, let's say your driver picks up a load today and their insurance payment is due tomorrow, and all of a sudden mid load they're not like, I think it was Cassandra Gaines told me some crazy, like I want to say 70% stat of most loads aren't properly insured. Like that's spooky, like that is that's terrifying. That is some scary level stuff right there. So I think whenever we hear claims or damaged product and you're rushing back, making sure it's covered, making sure the driver didn't do anything wrong, because as a brokerage, a lot of times you get these claims, and if it's a big customer, they'll just say, don't worry, we'll like scratch it from the invoices we owe you. They're always trying to do stuff like that, and it's like, well, that's not how claims work. And then it turns into this whole bubble of a situation. So claims always terrified me, always make me nervous, and I think until we have better technology that kind of exposes that real-time claim, what's covered, what's not, and our tech can say like, oh, they're taking steel coils, they don't have insurance for that, or just things like that. I'm always going to be terrified of claims for sure.
I like to refer to claims as the big C, like the big C word. Like there's some C words that people don't like to use because they're considered inappropriate. But no,
I'm thinking of one.
To me, it's that.
Yeah.
Like the second I hear it, I drop it like it's the hottest potato, and I'm like, no, no, I'm not going to say anything else.
Exactly. Oh, not good.
Thomas, what's your top scariest logistics scenario?
Oh man, when you manage drivers, it's like having kids. Sometimes they just get into stuff.
Yeah, you're talking to the right crew right now, just like three childish individuals, kids, scary. You're right. No, you're right. That's way scarier than claims.
Coal catch fire one time. It was a load of Tractor Supply coal. Wow. And so imagine it's in like Indiana on the interstate. It's a multi-vehicle pileup. The truck gets involved in this pileup. And there's a reason why you always sleep in the bottom bunk, even though it's got 2 bunks for a sleeper. Well, the teammate thought, well, I'm going to sleep in the top bunk. So he flew into the dashboard. The truck caught fire. His partner's got a broken arm. He uses his only good arm to pick up his teammate and pull him out of the flaming truck. And it caught fire and burned longer because it was full of coal. Like, coal for your charcoal. So that was a spooky one. They did not become truck drivers afterwards, which I understood. They're like, look, I get it. And then one of my trucks made it on the Weather Channel. It was driving outside of Laredo and it was empty and a wind gust picked it up. And it was like the truck was moving and all of a sudden it went choom, and it just blew over the truck like straight up. I'm like looking at the Weather Channel. I was like, is that 515251? I'm like, oh, it is. And they're like, guys, my truck made it on the Weather Channel. So unladen trucks, if you're empty, that's super spooky because wind will just knock you over like cow tipping. And then the last one, I had this driver. I was at AI Fleet, and she was a good driver when she drove, but she loved playing Xbox, and she would stay up all night on her break playing Xbox. She wouldn't wake up, so I'd call her, and I'd call her 5 times, wouldn't wake up. So I had to call welfare checks. So I had to call the cops and be like, "Hey, I don't know if my driver's alive. Can you knock on the door and check on him?" And this happened 3 times, and yeah, that was always a little bit of a spooktacular one because I'm like, are you dead? Because it happens. They'll die in the trucks, and so you gotta check on them. I was very lucky. I didn't have anyone die in the truck on me, which was nice. They normally got tipped over or in car accidents. Or one guy called me had a deer stuck in his truck. Yeah, they'll die in the truck sometimes because they're old and they're not very healthy, and they'll just pass away. And if you're a bad fleet manager, it could take a day or two to find them. And then I've had the last one. I'm getting 4 here. I called this one carry out. It gets your food to go, except it's always in Montana and it's deers. And so in the Cascadia and Volvos, they get caught in the grills. And so the guy'd call me and be like, Thomas, I think I hit a deer. I was like, do you remember where? And he's like, 300 miles ago. Like, can you send me a picture? And it's like that grandma got run over by a reindeer that you're just kind of hanging out like, what's up? And it's like, there's a deer stuck in your grill. And so they don't train you for that in fleet manager training. How do you get a deer out of the grill? That was definitely, when they say trucking is tribal knowledge, these are the spooktacular moments. How do you do welfare checks on drivers? And how do you make sure they don't get blown over? Or the bone knife? What do you do? How do you accept gifts from drivers? So yeah, I've had a few spooktacular ones.
I feel like 90% of the calls that come into a brokerage or something like that are just stuff that you're not trained to handle. It's just like, I'm sorry, you want to run that past me again? What? I cannot tell you how many times I've heard. I've personally had to say, I'm sorry, what did you say is going on? And how do you, oh, this is happening. What do I do? It's a great question. Give me a minute. And then you just you put them on hold and you just stand up and you go, so I got this problem. What do I do? And somebody somewhere is like, oh, you do this. And you're like, oh, okay. You pick up the phone, you go, we do this. And
that's literally half of my job when
Thomas,
I first started.
In Michigan, I know if you hit a deer, you're supposed to contact the police. Are you, they kind of like a hit and run situation? You're not supposed to, is that the same with trucks? If they do hit a deer, you're supposed to tell the authorities? Or...
Allegedly.
Okay.
This is not professional or legal advice, but if you do have a deer stuck in your grill, it may not be DOT legal. But
yeah, I would hope not.
I don't think you have to call and report it, but you will need to route it to a shop and have that worked on. That's
cool.
I did hit a deer in Tunnel Hill, Georgia, outside US Express. And in Georgia, you can pick up the roadkill. So the state trooper arrived and he's like, is the deer still there? And I was like, nah, bro, the thing rolled over and ran off. He's like, dang, because a lady called in wanting to take it home. So in Tennessee and Georgia, you can take it with you. So theoretically, if you hit the deer, maybe you can just drive to a state and give it away. But I mean, it's spoiled meat. That's my Southern folksy wisdom. That meat's spoiled. Tainted meat. So I wouldn't recommend it, in my professional opinion.
Ooh, spooky.
Okay, so for anyone who, because I know there's so much crossover here, for anyone who has listened to a holiday episode of FreightWaves Drive Time on Sirius XM channel 146, right? Grace hosts the show. And so anyone who's ever listened to a holiday episode has heard the radio version of what this is, because it's just who we are as people. So that means it's another holiday. And since we don't have, since we're not on the radio, I figured it's time for me to bring you both some holiday themed fun facts. And are you guys ready for some shipping Halloween fun facts?
Let's do it.
More than ready.
Okay, well, they're not really particularly related to Halloween, but they are spooky shipping regulations from around the world. So I'm going to pick some countries, and we're going to talk about some weird stuff that you can't import into the country. Fun fact, did you know that in Nigeria you cannot import a wheelbarrow, chocolate, toothpicks, and ballpoint pens? Specifically, all the parts except the tip. Just the tip is okay.
I agree.
Just the tip. What kind of MacGyver stuff are you gonna need in Nigeria to where you can't bring your wheelbarrow? Like, is there a wheelbarrow lobby of
Like, imagine
Nigerians?
bringing a wheelbarrow of chocolate and toothpicks. Like, no bueno.
I would just love someone to like go through customs at like the Nigerian airport with their giant wheelbarrow. Mostly because I want to hear about that because it sounds like fun. Let's to like, sir, please, why is a wheelbarrow your choice of suitcase? But hey, to each his own. um, this one I do like quite a lot. We're moving to another country. We're going to South Africa, Mexico, and India. Three very similar countries. They only allow the import of shoes that don't match. They have that way they can control the shoe market. Yeah, you can
Oh,
only import shoes
weird.
that do not match.
So only half a
Interesting.
shoe.
Yes.
How do you get the other mate?
I mean, I guess you could do like one palette of like all blue shoes, like left shoes that are blue and right shoes that are red, and then another palette of all left shoes that are red and right shoes that are blue paired together so that way you could like break them down and match them, but that feels like a lot of extra
It's gotta be
effort.
cargo theft. You gotta see some South African or Indian
Oh, I
dude walking around with two
wonder.
left shoes. You know that guy's doing some stuff.
I
I
wonder
Yeah.
if
bet you it's
that's what it's
something like that.
for. Because if they do come together, they'll just get stolen. Where it's like, if they aren't matching, then who is going to steal them, right?
That's
I
true.
bet you that's part of it.
I like that.
The criminals even help you unload it
Spooky.
because they're so mad.
Yeah, they're like,
My
oh.
favorite my favorite one that I found in my very extensive research that I did for this, which involved Googling, is this one is my favorite. In Fiji, you cannot import holy water.
Well, that's because their water's holy. Just
Something like that. Apparently, like it's weird that like this is something that the customs people were like, "Hey, we need a policy on holy water." Because I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty low on my list of like priority import bans. But hey, to each his own. Apparently, it's because the Fiji is home to three religions that encourage a pilgrimage: Christianity, Hinduism, and
kidding.
Muslim. And what do you bring back from a pilgrimage? Holy water. And the government has no problem with holy water per se, but holy water is not traditionally certified as cholera and typhoid free. So they don't like it because they want the water that people come into contact with to, not kill them. So
Smart.
makes sense. But if you get certified cholera and typhoid free holy water, you're aces.
I see there's vampires there. That's why.
That'll be garlic.
Yeah, that too. It's the vampire.
Like what we do in the Shadows Fiji edition.
Oh my god, great
like,
show. Yeah.
You got some vampire at custom sniffs it. He's like, ugh.
Could you imagine
I
like
love
a color?
imagining a Fiji vampire, like just like in beautiful terrain, just
Nothing but
loving life.
sunshine.
And they'll look
Well,
like an albino because they're all covered up. So it's like, why
It's
is this
like-
albino checking out my water?
He's
I
an
want,
energy
like-
drainer.
I
just
want like
in
an
the show.
albino like vampire with just the largest hat that would rival the Kentucky Derby or like a very old Southern woman at church. Like the largest hat you could find, just dressed head to toe in like black linen, going, no. Or maybe a cholera sniffing dog, like a dog that's trained to sniff cholera and just like starts barking.
They pass it to the dog after the vampire gets it because
There
the
you
dog,
go. Two-factor
I love
authentication.
Yeah, exactly. On your holy water.
So that being said, we are shockingly running out of time today.
No.
I know. Oh Anyway, so we have had you guys on this show, so we know where you stand on a lot of issues. And today we're gonna go deeper, if you will. So, Thomas, if you could only have one color of food for the rest of your life, what color would it be?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough call.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know what color. Like the color of tan, and I'll just eat bread and nacho chips for the rest of my life. Whatever the color of a bleached nacho chip is.
So tan.
Tan.
Human. You're eating human until you die.
Red was a close second because I do like meat, but I guess I'm gonna die.
I mean, tan, you can get like chicken fingers and like
Yeah.
onion rings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anything
back.
deep fried.
Deep fried. Yeah.
I'm gonna smell horrible.
Yeah,
because
you
of my
might be
diet.
600 pounds, but
You just
you'll
feel
be
more horrible.
eating.
I'm gonna smell like fried chicken oil and garlic and onions.
Sunflower seeds.
Drinking my Fiji water that's holy.
Oh my god. So
All right,
funny.
Grace, what color would you eat?
Well, I'm unlike Thomas. I'm gonna say red because one, I can eat meat, strawberries, berries, yogurts, red potatoes, ice cream, peppermints. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, vegetables might be tough, but we'll just eat potatoes, I guess, until I die. But
Works for the Irish.
rutabagas. There's
go.
some. Yeah,
You could have strawberry rhubarb pie.
Pie, yes, yeah, 100%.
Cherry pie.
Yeah, I thought about this.
Like a red beet.
Yeah.
Easy.
Okay.
And as long as the meat's there, a nice steak, good to go.
You can get some tuna, like a ahi tuna's kind of red.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, the list goes on and on, Thomas. The list.
Man, mine sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I picked a
tan. You don't even say brown. You could have said brown.
Brown at least gets you like chocolate cake.
Yeah, exactly. Like Stu's eating vanilla cake for the rest of his life.
I was nervous. I had to make a strong showing.
I've been thinking about this for 24 hours. Yeah, that's difference. I was asking people around me. Initially, it was green because I love a nice green, like kale smoothie, But then I was like, do I want to only eat lettuce until I die? No.
You would be extremely.
Oh, you read the rundown. That's why. I can't read. This is an authentic reaction. We're doing this real.
Hey, Mary, I had something actually I needed to tell you. So I was at the TIA Technovations conference a couple weeks ago, and on stage, Don Everhart stole your question. He asked the whole audience, "Is a hot dog a sandwich?" And I clutched my pearls. I was like,
Don Everhart.
So TIA watches the show, loves it, big fans.
Rude.
And I will say most people said it's not a sandwich. So
they're
yeah.
Whew. Don, I'm gonna have to have some words about that.
It's a taco. That's what I've decided.
Grace. Anyway, Grace, if someone wants to find your incorrect opinion on hot dogs as sandwiches, where can they find you outside the show?
Well, you can reach out to me on Taco Tuesdays, on LinkedIn, on every social media platform. I'm sure you can find me. Shoot me an email. I was going to say, give me a call. Don't do that. Don't give me a call. Please, God, don't give me a call. You know what? Text me. You can text me if you want. But yeah, check out FreightWaves.com. And our articles, all the hard work we do on the editorial side, go check that out as well.
All right, Thomas, if someone wants to, question your tan opinions, where can they find you outside the show?
I actually live in a box down the street. You can find me under your closest bridge. It was FreightWaves.com/loaded and rolling. I'm on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. I just talk about stuff. It's really fun. Trucking is so much fun. Everything's trucking. You may not think it is, but it is. That's me, I guess. Yeah.
That pumpkin sitting back there with that little hat, that's you.
I got a pumpkin with a hat.
Your cat is so mad right now. It's sitting there. Like
I tried to fix it.
All right. On that note, that does it for us today. I'll see you guys on the internet.